We are now going to look at adding terms, adding variables and subtracting variables from each other. But let's start by looking at one of the best examples, and that will be x plus x. Okay, now before we do that sum, let me just explain a couple of things. This is what we call an algebraic expression. What is an algebraic expression? Well, it's an expression where the expression consists of at least one variable. You know, this x is a variable because we don't know the value of this x. We don't know the value, and that's why we call it a variable. And then this algebraic expression consists of at least one variable, and then there must be an addition and a subtraction, a multiplication and division. So there must be an operation. So at least one variable, at least one operation, and that makes a algebraic expression. The other thing to notice is that when you have a variable and you don't see a number, the number in front of the variable is 1. That's very important, very important. Now, when we add these two variables, x plus x, what we are going to do, in fact, is to add the constant. This is a constant. The numbers we call constants. Okay, so we're going to add the numbers when we're adding variables that are exactly the same. So it's 1 plus 1, and that's 2, and we keep the x as it is. And the other way to remember it is we only add like terms. Okay, but let's do another example to see exactly how we do these type of sums. Okay, the second example will be 3x plus 5x. Okay, and there we have 3 plus 5, okay, and that is 8, and you have an x. Again, there we added the like terms. There's the like terms as x and x, and then we add the constants, so it's 3 plus 5. Other way to remember it is, let's say you have one apple, okay, and you take another apple, you have 2 apples. Okay, an apple plus an apple is 2 apples. And the following thing I will suggest you do, especially now when you start with algebra and algebraic expressions and simplifying them, it's the following. So you must say x plus x. We know that is 2x. This is actually very important. And then when you say x times x, that is x to the power 2. In other videos, we'll expand this and explain this further, how this exactly works. But let me just say now, this x has an exponent of 1, and when you multiply terms or multiply variables that have exactly the same base, you add the exponents, and that's why it's 1 plus 1, it's 2. If you can remember these two simple equations, then it will help you so much in a test or an exam. So I would suggest writing this down. Write this down before a class test or a term test in the beginning of the paper. This will help you tremendously. The third example is, let's say we have 6y and now we have minus 2y. So we're subtracting from the 6 the 2. Okay, again, we can simplify this algebraic expression because they are like terms. The variables look exactly the same. So then we work with the constants. So we say 6 minus 2 is equal to the number 4, and the variable stays y. Okay, so let's look at another example. Let's say you have 2ab and you have plus 3b. How will we do this? Because now, okay, there are two terms. Remember, these are two terms. A term is separated by a plus, okay, or a minus. There are two terms. How will you add these terms? Well, you can't add them because they're not like terms. AB is not the same as B. There is an additional A here, so they're not the same, so you can't add these terms because they're not like terms. So your answer, and please write down your answer as the following. You just write what the question is, and this, you can't simplify this further. And remember, again, the question will usually read, please simplify the following, and then you must reduce your algebraic expression to the simplest form. Let's look at another example. Okay, let's say you have 5 and it's 11 p squared q plus 3 p squared q, and let's make that a minus to make it a bit more interesting. Okay, here you'll see you have like terms again because the variables and the exponents are exactly the same. You have p squared q and p squared q. Okay, they are exactly the same, so we can add these terms because they are like terms. So let's look at that. What is the answer? Well, 11 minus 3 is 8, and it's p squared q. Okay, so that's easy enough. Let's do another example, and this will be the last one, just to see how we can apply all the things we've learned thus far. Let's say you have 2m and you have plus 3n, oops, there 3n, and then you have plus 7n minus 7m. Okay, yeah, what I would suggest you do, especially now when you're starting with algebraic expressions and algebra, is to put your like terms together. So there you have 2m and negative 7m, 2m minus 7m, so I put those together, and then you have a 3n and a 7n, and I put those together. Because remember, you can swap terms around when you're dealing with addition and subtraction, as long as you just keep your operation with the term. So that's why I kept a negative there with the 7. Okay, so let's simplify that. Let's simplify that and see what the answer is. Okay, so 2m minus 7m, what is that? Well, that is 5m, and it's actually negative 5m, isn't it? So it's 2 minus 7, and it's negative 5, and the variable stays an m because it's the same variable here. You're adding like terms, subtracting like terms, and then you have 3n plus 7n. Okay, so 3n plus 7n, and that is just 10n. The variables, they're the same, n and n, like terms they are then, so you just say the one number plus the other number is 3 plus 7, that's the 10. And that's basically a good foundation to simplify your algebraic expressions.